Over the last 3 decades, agricultural development in Saudi Arabia has been astonishing. When one thinks about Saudi Arabia, green grass and plants growing in the middle of the sand might not be the first thing that comes to mind, especially since the country is well known for being a desert country with very little rainfall. But today, large areas of desert have been converted into agricultural fields, which is a significant milestone achievement. Although Saudi Arabia is considered a desert, it has regions where the climate favors agriculture. Rain falls in winter every year in Saudi Arabia, but with an average of 100 millimeters, except in southern areas of the country. In the past, the bulk of agricultural production was concentrated in a few limited areas, and nomads played a crucial role in this regard by shipping foods and other goods between the widely dispersed agricultural regions. The lack of water supply in Saudi Arabia has been a major constraint on agriculture, as the kingdom has no natural rivers, and rainfall is slight and irregular over most areas of the country, except in the southwest, where the rainfall is sufficient to support regular crops. So you might wonder, how did this country with a scarce water supply become a major exporter of agricultural produce? Agriculture in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the world's largest producer and exporter of oil. Saudi refineries produce around 8 million barrels of oil per day. As the world's largest oil producer and exporter of oil, the kingdom plays a major role in the global energy industry. However, the country is also involved in the production and exportation of some agricultural products, including wheat, eggs, fish, poultry, fruits, vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, watermelons, cereals, herbs, potatoes, and flowers in large quantities, which covers a huge portion of needs for global consumption. Dates, which is a staple food in Saudi Arabia, is now mainly grown for global humanitarian aid. Historically, agriculture in the Arabian Peninsula was limited mostly to date farming and small-scale vegetable production in widely scattered oases. Serious agricultural development began in the 1970s, when the government launched an extensive program to promote modern farming technology. This program aims to establish rural roads, irrigation networks, storage and export facilities, and encourage agricultural research training institutions. Since 1985, Saudi Arabia has launched a program to install agricultural farms in the desert. The kingdom has adopted various strategies, programs, and initiatives to promote sustainable agricultural development and improve water management to conserve natural and environmental resources. Water resources. Water is very important in agriculture, and Saudi Arabia is a desert country with no permanent rivers or lakes and very little rainfall. This brings us to the question, how is this country making waves in the agricultural sector with this water scarcity? The kingdom has turned to innovative ways to provide enough water to support its development. Aquifers are a major source of water in Saudi Arabia, as they are vast underground reservoirs of water. The government undertook a major effort to locate and map such aquifers, estimating their capacities. Saudi Arabia reaches the underground rivers and lakes by drilling through the desert floor and directly irrigating the field with circular sprinkler systems or center pivot irrigation on a radius ranging from 300 to 500 meters. You must have been wondering what those green circles you see on the map are meant for while navigating some areas in Saudi Arabia. Well, Saudi Arabia is one of the countries that use center pivot irrigation, which is basically the circular crops that are visible on the map. The center pivot irrigation system uses a range of sprinklers that rotate around a point, which causes the irrigated area to emerge as a green circle. That is why circular crop fields indicate such an irrigation system. In Saudi Arabia, center pivot irrigation is used in many projects that are basically on arid or hyper-arid lands. The non-renewable fossil water, which lies at a depth of 1 kilometer, is mined and pumped to irrigate the fields using the center pivot irrigation system. Another major water source is the sea, which is done through a process called desalination. Desalination is a process whereby potable water is produced from brackish seawater, and this is achieved thanks to a network of dams that were built to trap and utilize precious seasonal floods. Vast underground water reservoirs have been tapped through deep wells, and desalination plants have been built to produce fresh water from the sea. This water is used primarily for agriculture and is distributed through thousands of miles of irrigation canals to vast tracts of fertile lands. Another source of water for farming is the use of recycled water. The kingdom aims to recycle as much as 40% of the water used for domestic purposes in urban areas. Hence, recycling plants have been built in strategic urban locations. The recycled water is used to irrigate farm fields, and these efforts have helped transform a vast tract of desert into fertile farmland. Technological advancement in the farmland. Although most of Saudi Arabia's terrain is desert, the kingdom is greening its landscape by introducing various new technologies, changing farming practices, and increasing the amount of vegetation. The use of modern technologies has been of great help in conserving natural resources and boosting agricultural productivity. Thanks to integrated water management, Saudi Arabia has achieved high levels of self-sufficiency in various crops, especially those using modern technology. The Saline Water Conservation Corporation, SWCC, operates 27 desalination stations that produce more than 3 million cubic meters of potable water per day. Most of this water is channeled into the irrigation system to boost farm productivity. The water path that is utilized is determined by engineers, who determine the river channel that has been buried by sand seas. However, the irrigation system is limited in terms of production, as reservoirs in Saudi Arabia have been drained out. The kingdom has now initiated multifaceted programs that would bolster the growth of the agricultural sector. This includes the construction of dams to serve as storage of water from seasonal floods, as well as the production of desalination plants to obtain fresh water from the sea to cater to urban and industrial needs. With the help of innovative modern technology, a country with minimal rainfall and farmland became a major exporter of agricultural products globally. Agricultural achievements over the years. Driven by increased investments and measures to promote sustainable development, Saudi Arabia's gross domestic product has grown over the years. Serious agricultural development began decades ago, and it is evident in recent times that the country has experienced substantial growth. The government launched an extensive program to promote modern farming technology, and the results have revealed an extraordinary development in the production of all basic food. With a substantial amount of meat, milk, and eggs, Saudi Arabia is now completely self-sufficient in several foodstuffs. With the increase in food production, there was a proportionate decline in food importation, and surprisingly, the country now exports many of its agricultural products all around the world. One of Saudi Arabia's renowned agricultural accomplishments was its rapid transformation from an importer of wheat to an exporter. The kingdom has stepped up fruit and vegetable production by improving farming techniques and the roads that link farmers with urban consumers. As a result, Saudi Arabia is now a major exporter of fruits and vegetables to its neighboring countries. This agricultural transformation has altered the country's traditional diet, supplying a diversity of local foods unimaginable a few generations ago. Dates are no longer a vital staple for Saudi Arabians like they were in the past. And now, the annual production of dates, with an estimate of about 500,000 tons and comprising over 450 different kinds, is used as international humanitarian aid. Several factories are dedicated entirely to the production of dates for foreign aid and donate tens of thousands of tons each year to famine relief and food shortage, mainly through the World Food Program, WFP, of the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO. Many countries have directly benefited from Saudi Arabia's food aid offered through the World Food Program. Governmental contributions to agriculture. In recent years, the agricultural sector in Saudi Arabia has benefited from an array of government programs, including the provision of soft, interest-free loans together with technical and support services. A lot of progress has been made as a result of the interventions provided by the government, and the agricultural sector has greatly benefited from these support services, such as low-cost water, fuel, electricity, and duty-free import of raw materials. Foreign joint venture partners of Saudi individuals or companies are also exempt from paying taxes for 10 years. Saudi Arabia has been actively adopting national food strategies, which include increasing domestic production of agricultural products, diversifying import sources, reducing waste, and building spare capacity. The Ministry of Water and Electricity handles all water matters. The main agency responsible for implementing agricultural policy is the Ministry of Agriculture, which provides farmers with research extension assistance. Another supporting agency is the Saudi Arabian Agricultural Bank, SAB, which disperses and grants interest-free loans. Red Sea Global, RSG, an innovative platform owned by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, has launched a cooperative to boost the agricultural economy of a certain region. This initiative is expected to bring more than 3,000 farmers together in the region, allowing them to sell their produce directly to the company's resort properties. In addition to this, the government distributes fallow land free of charge according to the Land Distribution and Reclamation Program that was introduced decades ago. The land, mostly small plots, is given as a means of increasing cultivation and encouraging crop and livestock production. The beneficiaries are required to develop a minimum of 1/4 of the land surface within 2 to 5 years, and upon compliance with this, full ownership of the land is transferred to the farmer. In a bid to encourage private investment in the agricultural sector, the Saudi Arabian government has allocated substantial financial resources for improving roads linking production areas with consumer markets. Under the developed plans, the government continues to assist new farmers in implementing capital-intensive projects with special emphasis on diversification and greater efficiency. One of the new areas in which the private sector is investing with government support is aquaculture, and as a result, the number of fish farms, either using pens in the sea or tanks onshore, has been increasing steadily. In order to raise farm productivity, the government also funds and supports research projects aimed at producing new food crops to increase harvest and develop plant strains with greater resistance to pests. These programs are conducted in cooperation between local farmers and scientists at agricultural research facilities at Saudi Arabian universities and colleges. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Remember to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and share the video.